Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on The Flash Season 8, and this is going to be my trailer breakdown for episode 17 for this season, the fourth last episode, otherwise entitled Keep It Dark. Pretty simple. But of course, before we get into anything else, let's actually watch the trailer.
You sped us out of the way and then put out the fire.
I did?
What are they talking about?
I think there may be a new speedster in town. I have to know if it's him.
What scared you so bad that you had to run all this way just to be sure I was still here?
So last episode was an episode I think most of us went into thinking, oh, nothing in this episode is going to be relevant. It's all going to be filler. And it was fun. It was a fun interlude episode, sort of self-contained. As I said in my review, and most people seem to agree with me, definitely had that season one feel in regards to tone and everything like that. Just felt like a season one episode. Obviously just without some of the season one characters. But of course, right towards the end, we did see Barry pretty much destroy Caitlin's makeshift lab at her home, take the mirror gun, which Caitlin was hopefully planning to use to do what had happened, I guess at the end of season 6, beginning of season 7, that storyline to, create Frost again, because that's what happened back then. That was what happened with the mirror gun and like the whole mirror world and stuff like that. Now, of course, Barry took, those measures into his own hand to destroy Caitlin's lab, and Caitlin is obviously not very happy. She looked very angry, not even like sad, just angry, peed off, whichever way you want to, call it. And I think we're all very intrigued to see where that leads going, into the end of this season and potentially season 9 as well. But of course, before we get into the actual breakdown of this trailer, we will quickly read out the synopsis or description for the episode, as it does actually give us a lot more that's going to be happening in this episode than the trailer does, surprisingly enough. But yeah, we'll get to that in a second. But of course, throughout the video, be sure to let me know in the comment section down below, your various thoughts, theories, predictions, expectations, what you're looking forward to the most in this episode. Let me know all that in the comment section down below. Always curious to read it. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video, want to drop a like on it. And if you're looking forward to the episode, drop a like on the video as well. Helps support the channel. The Flash goes off the grid to look for answers about a new meta in town. Meanwhile, Allegra pulls out all of the stops at the Central City Citizen Media, or at Central City Citizen Media, to protect a source and a friend. So the first thing is that this episode is actually directed by Daniel Panabaker, who plays Caitlin. So definitely don't expect any real follow-on from the Caitlin stuff from the end of last episode in this one. At least I wouldn't be expecting it. And that's why she wasn't really in last episode, just the end credits scene, because she would have been, preparing to film this episode. So I would expect anything Caitlin related to be in the last 2 episodes, because even the episode after this, episode 18, would be when she would be busy editing the episode, I think maybe. So yeah, she's going to be preoccupied. So I think that's why they did that really big stuff with Caitlin and Barry at the end of last episode, because, they're going to leave it for a few episodes and maybe Caitlin goes AWOL or something, like absent, without telling anyone, just maybe comes back at the end of the season with some weird things going on. We'll have to wait and see. Now, obviously, as you would have been able to tell from the trailer, we are having a week off. This episode does not air until June 8th in America. So next week, no episode. Get a bit of a breather before the final 4 episodes. So we have Superman and Lois coming back next week, but The Flash is off. So at least you get a show if you do watch Superman and Lois. But there is no more breaks, I'm pretty sure, after this week's break for The Flash. So we have the week off and we come back and get those final 4 episodes in a row. And now both Superman and Lois and The Flash have their finales on the same week. So I don't know if that means anything. We'll have to wait and see. And of course, Superman and Lois will be the day before The Flash in regards to that finale week. And in regards to the synopsis, as I said before, it sort of revealed more than what was in the trailer, which it does. And it doesn't really match up with what we see in the trailer in regards to focus. Though we sort of know what is going on with the stuff from the trailer because of previously revealed information from set and stuff like that. Now, obviously, the main focus of the episode that we've been told about is that it's mainly about Allegra, and it's mainly apparently a bottle episode. The trailer would make you think that. Now, a bottle episode usually means it's like confined to a limited amount of sets, usually one set, to reduce money and focus on a smaller thing. Now, I'm not too sure if that's the case or not, but that's what we were told. Now, I think this episode is going to be connected to that thing we saw in the Still Force in episode 15 when we had Allegra having that conflict with her co-worker, and we were told it was like a future thing that's going to happen, but there wasn't like a time frame, I don't think, but it just seemed like it was set up for this episode. I think the co-worker's name is Taylor. I think that's what her name is. And I just in that episode, thought it was set up. I'm pretty sure in my review for that episode, I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's just going to be set up for the Allegra episode. And then the synopsis for this episode sort of goes along with that as well. Now, I guess the curious thing is like, who is this source and friend? Is it someone we know? Is it going to be like a completely random character they bring in just for this episode? Maybe. I'm not sure. Maybe it might be someone connected to Team Flash. I'm not too sure. I have to wait and see. But the thing in the still force, that quick scene we saw, it made it seem like this Taylor girl that works with Allegra was going to like expose her as a meta, because Allegra was saying like, that's my thing to, reveal. That's my information to give out. So that could be talking about this source and a friend, and this Taylor girl's trying to take it from her or something. I'm not too sure. This Taylor girl, I mean, if we're, she's a bit of a, not very likable. So it's pretty rare. I'm not the biggest fan of Allegra, but in this episode, if it is this conflict, I'll be going for Allegra, because this Taylor girl just comes off as a bad cup of milk, if you want to call it. But let's get into this Barry stuff, which definitely has most people talking and very curious, especially because of like one or two things that happen in the trailer. So in the trailer, we can see that he's drawn to Ivo Labs. Some of you might have been hard. It might have been hard for you to see, but in the back, you can see Ivo Laboratories on the thing. And there was this fire going on, and the staff here think that the Flash was the one who ran through and saved them from this fire. But of course, based off Barry's confused reaction, that's not what happened at all. And just after that moment in the trailer, when they actually do show the date that this episode is airing, because there's like June 8th up on screen, we can see Barry here running through the city, but there seems to be someone just in front of him. So Barry's chasing someone, obviously another speedster, and they look to be giving off like red lightning, or maybe they're wearing a suit or something that flicks off red, something like that. But Barry is, in my opinion, definitely chasing someone here. It just looks like that. Now, this person they're chasing isn't giving like a long streak like you see Barry does, which maybe makes you wonder that it's not connected to the Speed Force, maybe? I'm not too sure, but in my opinion, he looks like he's chasing someone 100%. But as we do see, Barry wants to go see Thawne just to make sure he is still locked up, because obviously that happened at the end of Armageddon, and they took his powers away as well. So that's going to be a thing that Barry's going, well, hold on. If Thawne had his powers, I'd just expect him to be the number one suspect, but we took his powers away. So what's going on there? And maybe there is like camera footage with red lightning going around the room that makes Barry then go to see Reverse Flash. But then again, this person saved these Ivo Lab workers. But then again, we don't know what the context is. Maybe the person who did this created the fire. Maybe they started the fire. I'm not too sure. But yeah, obviously this is going to lead Barry to go see Reverse Flash, or I guess just Eobard Thawne, on the Lian Argus prison, which I don't know if they'd mentioned if he was there, because we just knew that he went to an Argus prison, and we just thought it was going to be the one that we've seen previously, but it's on Lian, so it's a bit like, it's their Supermax prison, I guess you could say, and it is cool to go back there. I definitely didn't think, once Arrow ended, that we'd be going to Lian, and specifically the Argus prison within it. I think that's really cool, and it makes you wonder, will there be anyone else locked up there? Is it just Reverse Flash, or just Eobard Thawne, or is there some other people as well? Will Godspeed be there maybe? Maybe they moved Godspeed from Iron Heights to this place. I'm not too sure. Not going to say expect cameos or anything like that, but you never know. But of course, Thawne is still locked up, so it looks like there is legitimately a new speedster in town. But as I said before, were they also responsible for the fire, or was someone else responsible for it? Or maybe it was just an accident, like it wasn't a laboratory. So I guess if a new speedster, not 100% used to their powers, came in, they could generate a spark, it could hit some chemicals, all of a sudden you got some fire going on. But one thing that people are curious about, and I didn't really think of this straight away, I think by the time I probably would have got around to making this video, I might have connected the dots, but a lot of people were wondering, did this new speedster get their powers from the negative Speed Force energy that was released from Eobard at the end of Armageddon? Obviously, in that scene, it just goes up into the air. Did it just, disapparate? Did it just go away? Did it disappear? Or did it connect to someone else? So that would be a very curious thing to find out. So in one way, you've taken Eobard's powers away. You think you've ended a speedster's career, if you want to call it, and then maybe accidentally you create another one in the process. Well, who is this new speedster? Well, it's most likely Fast Track, aka Mina Darwan. We know she's in this season. Obviously, we had Fast Track Labs in episode 6 in that Bart Nora episode. That's where that Avery character worked, at Fast Track Labs. And we know that we go back there later this season. I don't know if it's in this episode, but we know that we go there later this season, maybe in episode 18 or something, because of set photos and stuff like that. So we know this fast track character is coming in. They've called her fast track on set, but maybe she starts off in this episode a bit confused and not too sure what the powers are. But then again, we don't know how she got her power set. Is it from the negative speed force energy that just went up into the air and randomly connected with her? Or did she, create it herself? Did she give herself speeds to powers? That's going to be a very curious thing to find out. And also, I wonder, will we run into this Avery character again? I don't know if it would work if we just brought her in without Bart. Because also it's important to remember that we met her in 2014. That was in 2014. That wasn't in 2020. So maybe she doesn't work there anymore. Or maybe what she was researching, this Mina Darwan character found and used it for herself. Because obviously Avery noticed that Bart and Nora sped off. They were speedsters. So, or at least specifically Bart ran off as a speedster. So maybe Avery was looking into it herself. Maybe she was a trial run. Maybe she tried to give herself powers and died or something, or got injured. And then Mina Darwan has come in, found that research, and then perfected it and given herself speed. Maybe that's what happened, because I did see people bring up Avery, but they seem to forget that that was all the way back in 2013 or 2014. So almost a decade ago. So yeah, maybe that's where the Mina Darwan stuff connects in regards to that episode 6 stuff, if Avery isn't in this episode. But yeah, it just seems like we are dipping our toes, if you want to call it, into the final story for this season within this episode, while it's still, has the main focus being around Allegra. But then again, maybe it's subverting our expectations to then surprise us, because, Daniel Panabaker, I think, said, it's a bottle episode, but that completely goes out the window as soon as you see those Barry and Thorne scenes, because just having those scenes in the episode pretty much rules it out being a bottle episode, even if they are it's only like 5 or 6 minutes of the episode or something. Because the past 2 episodes, which were labeled interludes, which many people just call fillers, haven't really been full fillers, especially episode 15. That was 100% relevant to this season's story. And then last episode was sort of like, 3/4 interlude filler, and then the rest was pretty relevant to what was going on going forward. So yeah, I don't even know what to think in regards to this episode with like Thorne, Barry, Allegra, Fast Track. I don't even know what to think going into it, whether, how big certain things are going to be and everything like that. Now, as I said before, whether, Caitlin is really going to be turning into Killer Frost again after what Barry did is something that's going to be in people's minds going forward, because it's such a big moment. But as I said, with Daniel Panabaker directing, I just don't expect it in this week's episode. Maybe it could be a tease end of episode 18, but even by that point, we're jumping into this final storyline. So they might leave it until episode 19 or even episode 20 to then do another cliffhanger for what's happening there. So just don't jump into this episode expecting it. But one thing I'm really looking forward to in episode 17 is the potential cliffhanger of maybe Thorne getting out of Lian Yu, because we know he's there at the end. Now, it could be a different Thorne, but we should just expect it to be this Thorne that's in jail at the moment. And it will just be interesting to see what happens there, as this is episode 17, and then we have 18, 19, and 20 as the final episodes and the final graphic novel. Those 3 episodes of 18, 19, 20 are the final graphic novel, contained story. So you'd expect Thorne to be in episode 18 if that's going to be the case. So maybe the end of the end cliffhanger for this 17th episode is Thorne getting out, or a tease of him finding a way to get out, or whatever it is. But I'm excited. I always get excited when we get close to the end of the season. It's a bit sad because the show goes away for a certain amount of time, but you're just so excited to see how they wrap it up and also set up what's happening going forward. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions, theories, predictions, all that. Always curious to read what you guys are thinking going into this episode. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I will catch you guys later. Goodbye.